Hey, this is Josh Siglowski. I know that people will be coming in and out of the presentation. I wanted to start right at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Mountain Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. And so I first wanted to, thank you for, coming in and, taking a look at this. It should only take 10, 15 minutes. And the whole reason why I wanted to record it is because I've never recorded it before. I've done mostly one-on-one type of meetings or one to many or to five, six people. But I just had this idea this last week of like, hey, this is another opportunity for mobile notaries, being that I've done that for 11 years, but mostly kind of did it part time for 11 years. And through COVID, obviously, a lot of us and the refi boom, we've done very, very well, and stayed really busy with it. And as refinances are starting to kind of taper off a little bit, we're all seeing that some clients that were sending us 10, 15 a day are barely sending us one a week. And so I looked at this opportunity for mobile notaries specifically because I've been in that industry. So what I'll first do is I'm going to share my screen here. And like, again, this is recorded, so that way you can always go back and we can answer questions at the very end, because I'm sure there's going to be questions, and we'll have some questions and answers. So let me share my screen here. View, present. All right. All right, so this is just my contact info. I'm going to go over who I am and who our company is, which you can see in the bottom right, the Chandler Group. And I'll have a slide for that. But this is just my information. If you ever, want to get some free education per se on Instagram or Facebook, that's my Instagram, Facebook, and that's my cell phone number. So it's not an office. It does look like that with the ending in 2000, but that is my cell phone. So who is the Chandler Group and who is Josh Siglowski? So I am the founder and CEO of the Chandler Group. And basically what that entails, I'll come back here. What that entails is a couple things. One is I do residential and commercial. I've been a residential investor for 18 years and 5.5 years in commercial. And commercial consists of, I originally started doing multifamily. I mean, we're all familiar with apartments. I did mobile home parks and I did hotels. And that was the only reason why I got into commercial, was to get out of residential. I just felt like if I died one day, I was going to leave my kids a chunk of money, and I wanted to leave them keys to an apartment complex or keys to a hotel where I can kind of build that up for them. And so that was my whole purpose of making that transition. And I've been a mobile notary mostly because I was part owners of a title company. We ended up selling. This was 12 years ago, and I kept the mobile notary side, which was very small at the time. And I would say for the last, 10 years, it's been an income of another 10 grand a year to upwards of $150,000 a year. So the Chandler Group was more so started when I went into the commercial arena. When I went into the commercial arena, I went and learned how to get, shopping centers, flex industrial buildings, medical offices like your dentist office. I buy those types of buildings, all that sort of thing. So that's me. This is my family. This is my why. I always like to always make sure people always know what their why is. This is my wife, 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. And it talks about my history I just talked about. I read a book called Magician versus Mule. I'm going to go over a couple of books that I've read this last little bit. Talked about, are you the magician or are you the mule? And if you are the magician, don't treat your people and your partners like mules. So I say that because I'm all about abundance. I'm all about, helping others. And it goes along with another book, which this is a terrible picture, but on the left, if you haven't read Who Not How, read it. Like literally my friend told me 2 months ago, you haven't read that? I need you to read that today. So I literally took his advice. I read it. And it basically talks about having who's around you. In other words, I'm a who to somebody, and you guys would be a who to me. In other words, rather than always trying to say to yourself, how do I figure this out? How do I do this? Find out who can help you do that, right? So that's, I'm a big proponent on that. And then this other book called Winning, just something I've read recently. Now, the app we're going to be going over is called Profit Drive. I developed this just a few days ago, so people can I can just say, hey, go to this website. This is the blogs a blog I created that goes step by step. drivingforprofit.blogspot.com. All it is you'll just go to step 1, know what to do. Step 2, it's just little training on when you have your app and you're out and about and driving around, you know, doing your closings or anything you're doing, really. I mean, you could be, you know, and you see a property, and we'll go over that in a second, but you see a property that's vacant or that you can tell that's vacant. Maybe you don't know it's vacant, and there's tags in there that shows you how to click it. Even ones like a commercial shopping center. Maybe you see a Kroger, but you see 2 little spots that are vacant. That would be something that you tag, and then you'd have an opportunity to make money because my whole team's going to go and what we call skip trace it. We're going to go cold call them. We're going to talk to them about possibly selling that property at a discount. Step 1, if you haven't, it doesn't show this link up here, but this step is also a lot that you guys are already gone into. In addition to, it's on the steps of the blog. So this talks about step 1, filling out your info, just your phone number, email, and then after you do that, this came over really bad. I don't know why this shows odd in Utah. That's okay. So it's going to say congratulations. The email right now comes from my my IT partner. His name's Justin Atkinson. I say that because once you put it in, you'll get an email technically from Justin Atkinson rather than Profit Drive, even though this is what the email looks like. And it's basically saying, hey, do you have an Apple app or an Android app? And then here's some fast start videos that you can watch on finding, you know, properties in your neighborhood. Okay. Next is signing up with Gusto. You want to email, and part of the steps it says email gilbertmanage@gmail.com. That just goes to my office, and you want to send them your first name, last name, or if you want your 1099 done through a company, put in that company info and the email address. So if you're doing your personal name, you do your first name, last name, email address, and phone number, and what state you reside in, because then we just send it out through Gusto. You'll get an email from Gusto and makes you fill out all the rest of the tax ID number and all that stuff. Okay, so that's how you get paid. Profit Drive, on the steps, watch the tutorials. That's pretty much the easiest thing to do, and it's on that blog that we talked about. These are different tags. What's a tag? So this talks about residential, vacant, confirmed. So if you go through, you'll see all the residential pieces real quick. We have appears vacant. Maybe it just appears vacant. You can tell there's probably some sort of violation with the property. Maybe some boards are up. You know, there's a thing on the door. If there's weeds and grass, the grass is high, and that's part of somewhat of a violation, like a city ordinance. If it's commercial property, if it's vacant confirmed, like, hey, you know, this is in Kroger's parking lot, I'm going to tag this. And to tag it, and you'll see the video, all you're doing is you're just holding the property for 2 seconds. All of a sudden the tag pops up and you're done. You can technically, if you're there, take pictures and make notes. You don't have to, though. If you do, it just helps us understand the property a little bit better rather than seeing what we're going to see on Google Earth. Okay. There's just other tags here. Looks bad, appears vacant, opportunity for sale, opportunity for lease. So in other words, if you see a property that says, hey, this looks like an opportunity that I think might be a good sale piece, you know, and you'll learn that over time. Or, hey, this is an opportunity that also says a for lease, there's a for lease sign. Okay. Grass weeds, this is kind of what grass weeds. This was just a property probably about 3 months ago that we picked up. That one of our, so I have an agency of notaries. We have 17 notaries right now. And this is one that picked up. So this was a great picture. She actually stopped and she did a closing nearby and tagged it. If you're doing a closing where, you know, we've all done these, you've gone into a house and you walked out like, oh my gosh, like that was a pretty bad one. Tag it. You know, we might be able to talk to them. So how do I make money and how much? So we talked about when you tag a place, what we're kind of seeing is every about 10 valid tags, we end up getting a deal, just so you kind of know the numbers. It's probably 1 out of 10. And those got to be valid tags. Granted, when we first got going, I did have people just tagging properties and, you know, they weren't bad, nor was the seller too motivated to sell. We don't know, and you don't know if they're motivated yet, right? We'll find that out through our answering questions that when we call them. Now, how much money? $500 per deal we close. After we've closed 20 deals with you, we up that to 1,000. Okay. So, and obviously we have that incentive because we want this to be a long-term relationship. How much is it going to cost me? This is totally no cost to start. So this isn't like, hey, startup costs, we need you to pay a $200 administration fee. No, nothing like that. You could say the cost is going to be your own gas, okay? But what the whole purpose of this is that you're already going out and doing closings or going around town doing things already, okay? Outside of that, we pay for all your memberships because we have an enterprise piece that we're paying for every person that's signed up. So in other words, we will, reconnect with you monthly to kind of see how things are going because we're actually paying you to have the app. So we do have that hard cost, okay? How fast do you close deals from the lead? So let's say you tag it. So this is our average timeline. Let's say you tag a property, we skip trace it. We'll call them the very next week, okay? Usually it's a full week from the time you tag it. Outside of then the very next thing is we're going to cold call them that next week. So usually it's about 3 to 4 weeks if it ends up being a deal. So just so you know, and then right when we get paid is when we pay Gusto. And then you'll see that the direct deposit coming in from Gusto, and usually that's 3 to 4 business days after we submit it to Gusto, okay? Can I be involved in the real estate purchase? Absolutely. We definitely have different opportunities with that. And so, like I said, the very first, a little bit about myself is I'm all about abundance. So you might want to just be a bird dog. That's okay. You might want to say, hey, you know what? If you're able to find this deal, I actually might want to buy it from you and rehab it myself. Or I can help you find a buyer for it. There's plenty of ways that you can also kind of get involved in the purchase outside of what I already have established is a process and system that I've done for the last 2-3 years of getting it from when it gets tagged to skip tracing, to cold calling, to getting to my operations acquisitions person, okay? So you can definitely be involved in that. This is what we talked about the very first. What is your why? Just to kind of keep that in your mind. And this is the very last slide. This is my contact info that I gave at the very first. So there's my Instagram. If you ever want to follow me, get some trainings or, see how dumb I am out there. So Facebook, Skype, there's my cell phone number if you ever want to text. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stop share and I'm going to stop the video and then we can answer questions.